Today we celebrate the feast of a woman who was not unlike the woman in our first reading. She was indeed a woman with a womanly heart but manly courage, one might say. Saint Elizabeth of Hungary, the wife of King Louis IV of Thuringia, was a woman who did not just sit on her throne and do nothing and just take in the accolades of royalty, but she had a heart for her people, especially for the poor of her kingdom. And she would go out nightly and she would give bread to the poor. She would distribute bread to the poor. And after she was widowed, she became a Third Order Franciscan. Now, the vestment I'm wearing is a Franciscan vestment. It has the Franciscan tau, and it was bought for me by a group of pilgrims with whom I was on pilgrimage a few years ago in Rome and Assisi. And they bought this in Assisi, and I myself am actually studying to be a professed Third Order Franciscan. And so this is a very special feast day for Franciscans, for Third Order Franciscans. For indeed, St. Elizabeth is the patroness of the Third Order Franciscans, for she had the heart of Christ, and she had the vision of Francis, to see Christ in others and to be Christ for them, to bring Christ into their lives by serving their needs physically, spiritually, emotionally, and in doing so, of recognizing the divine spark that was within them, especially those who are marginalized, disenfranchised, the poor of her kingdom. She saw Christ in them and strove to bring Christ to them by tending to their needs. And she, even though she could have lived comfortably, much like the woman and her sons, if they'd given in to the demands of the king, if they had renounced their faith and given in to the demands of the king, but the mother advised them not to do so, recognizing that it was God who gave them life, and it was only God that could take that life from them, or they could, in this case, offer their lives to God in a sacrificial manner. And Elizabeth of Hungary did this in a very real way, while not sacrificing in the same way physically as the sons and their mother did in our first reading. She recognized that the gold that she had, if you will, both the physical gold and the spiritual gold that she had, both the gold of the kingdom as well as the gold in her own heart, uniting herself with Christ, she shared with the poor, the marginalized, the disenfranchised. And for that she attained sainthood, and she was named a Third Order patroness, for indeed she united herself with Christ through the vision of Francis of Assisi, and in doing so carried out that mission, that message that carries on to this day in the Third Order. And so we can indeed be grateful to Elizabeth of Hungary for the vision that she had, the spiritual vision that she had, to bring Christ into the world, to be Christ for others, to see Christ in others, and to share with all of them all that she had, not resting on her laurels, not being complacent, but indeed working diligently for the building up of the kingdom by reaching out to the poor and by building up the body of Christ in this way, so as to strengthen that body here in this world and one day share in the fullness of life of God's kingdom in heaven.